Alright guys, so we're here today working on the 2001 Toyota Tundra, and we're just going to solve a small problem. Alright, so we had an issue here where we changed the idler pulley, which is right there, for the serpentine belt. We didn't at the time change the tensioner pulley, which you see here, just because we didn't. I guess we thought it was still good, and we changed this probably somewhere in the middle of the summer. Right now it's January, so it did last a little bit of time. But so what happened was the tensioner here completely seized, and as soon as, I don't know, it started getting really cold out, you could hear it starting to whine, up until the point where it completely seized just yesterday. So because of the seizing of this tensioner right here, the belt just kept spinning and eventually broke. So I'm going to show you guys how to change this tensioner pulley, because it is a little hard to reach. So the best way to do it is first get this air conditioning line loose, so that way it gives way to be able to reach down inside. So what I did here is I took off the lower radiator hose. Just be careful, there is still radiator, there's still coolant in there. So you're gonna spill a little bit, try not to spill too much. I maybe spilled a drop or two here and there. So what I've done here is I've just moved it away, and now we're going to work on the tensioner. So the tensioner, I've already gotten pretty loose. I started out with a 1/4 drive ratchet with an extension, and then I moved down to a 3/4 drive. That is going to be a 14mm bolt. And as you can see, it's still a little tough to get to, or it's a little tough to do it by hand. So we're just going to keep doing that. So the way you know it's your tensioner or idler is you're going to hear that whine, especially during the cold times. I mean, a whine could be anything, but you usually know because as soon as it starts spinning, it starts to give you this awful whine. And sometimes once it gets hot enough, it'll go away. So that's usually indicative that your tensioner pulley or your idler pulley is going bad. Ideally, you would want to change them as soon as you started doing that, and you would want to change the serpentine belt since you're there. So we're going to take this guy out and see if we just need the pulley or if we need the whole assembly. Alright, so here's the bearing that goes inside the pulley. That's what makes it spin. And as you can see, I can't even spin that by hand. You can buy just the pulley, or you can buy the assembly. And the way you test the assembly is with the pulley on, or you can just put this bolt back on there, and we're gonna make sure it moves the correct way. So let's go ahead and put that back on. And again, with most, I guess, Asian vehicles, you know, your Toyotas, your Nissans, I guess your Kias too, even your Mazdas, there is not a lot of space to work in here. Alright, sorry I had to put the camera down. I needed both hands to do this. Alright, so if you forget, like I did, to test the tensioner pulley, before you take out the actual pulley. You see here there's about a line and another line below it. Usually they're going to meet up once the belt is in there, so you just want to make sure the actual pulley assembly is able to move and get to there. And as we see it, it perfectly meets both lines, and you can even go further down. So we just have to change the pulley. You can change the whole assembly if you would like. I don't think the price difference is that much of a difference. It may be $30 or $40, but that's more work you got to do, and I'm not going to do it if this is still good. Alright, so we're going to get the new part in, and then I'll start the car up and show you guys if the whining went away, and hopefully this truck will be up and running today. Alright, just wanted to show you the new pulley versus the old pulley. As you can see there, the whole assembly moves and that bearing does not. And here, as you can see, this one has the bearing that does move. This is the new one, of course. And the entire thing is seized, so it all moves. Alright, future me here. This is the old tensioner pulley. With the new tensioner pulley, you have to readjust the bearing that sits right here. You're going to want that, at least for the, in my case, advanced auto parts and AutoZone parts that they give you. The bearing isn't seated properly for some reason. I went to 2 different stores and they were the same thing. So what you got to do is, on the new one, you're just gonna face it this way. So you want the gap to be on the bottom. All I did was I took a piece of tubular pipe and I just hit it so the bearing was flush. And once the bearing is flush, it'll rotate properly and it'll spin freely. But if you don't have that problem, then you don't have to touch the bearing at all. Alright, back to the video. Alright, and as you can hear, there's no more whining or screeching. And it's good to go.